Perfect. And I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
You're welcome.
So maybe just as a starting off point, maybe you could, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you ended up at the Channel House and Whale Cove Inn.
Great, thank you. So if they're family owned and operated businesses, and the families own the Channel House outright since 1988. And early in the 90s, when I was a young man, I came out here and worked as innkeeper. And so I got my experience there, and then left. Family businesses can be difficult. So I went away to seek other opportunities. And then recently I just finished graduate school and earned my master's in business. And there was the opportunity to return. So I decided, sure, come back out to the Oregon coast. I'm right here on the ocean. I mean, it's so bad.
Beautiful.
But yeah, we're really fortunate. The locations of these properties make them very competitive. So about 2.5 years ago, I returned and started working again for the family and running both of the businesses. The Whale Cove was another entity that was created about, maybe 12 or 13 years ago. So that was an opportunity that came up. And so the family decided to add that to their portfolio. But now we have the Channel House, which is the older property, more affordably priced. And then we have the Whale Cove, which is close by, but positioned a little differently. It's more expensive there, more exclusive.
Perfect. Beautiful. No, the pictures, suggest that it's a gorgeous place. And I've been around Oregon, but haven't really spent much time on the coast there. So, one of these days I'll get out there.
It's a very popular destination, especially for regional people that don't want to get on an airplane per se. And that would be all the way up to the Canadian border, all the way down the Northwest to Northern California. So especially with the events that have been going on over the last year with the COVID-19, we've been very fortunate. Our businesses have been setting records, frankly, but that's because of our location, and we're very unique. And so and we have some restrictions about what kind of customers that we cater to. So those things have all come together and really helped us through this. And of course, rezStream makes that all possible, because that really is the nuts and bolts. That's the cornerstone of our operations. And from my experience as an innkeeper back when we did everything by hand on paper, to now with all the modern technologies that we have available to us, I found my learning curve with rezStream was easily overcome. And the logic of the software is very smooth and logical, I would say. It's the whole process of booking and such flows smoothly, and it's easy to pick up, and it covers a lot of details. It makes the job easier and presents us opportunities to enhance our customer experience. So, and that's all good stuff.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
perfect. That's really fun for me to hear. So I appreciate that a lot. So just for, maybe summarize a little bit more about the two properties in terms of maybe your ADR, your occupancy, or, you mentioned a little bit about the type of guests, just to kind of give maybe a little bit better feel for,
Right. So they're both boutique properties. They're on the ocean, so they're really difficult to replicate. It would be almost impossible today to purchase this type of property and then develop it and then turn around and sell the rooms. You'd have to charge a tremendous amount. Our ADR at the Channel House is just in the high 200s. The ADR at the Whale Cove is just under 500. And occupancy is one area that I'd like for us to improve. Over the year average, we're in the range of the 70%. It's better now since November. We've been pushing it well into the 80s. That's been a challenge as well, because it leaves very little room for error. So that's been a challenge, trying to maximize revenue. So they're both unique, boutique, small. Channel House has 15 units, Whale Cove has 8. So we don't have a tremendous, we don't have this list of rooms that we've just got to book and fill. So my experience as an operator may be different than someone who has, let's say, something that's off the beach and they've got 50, 60 rooms or something there. They're more of a commodity. but I'm certain that the software would be helpful in that regard as well, especially with the larger number of rooms. But what other questions that you might have about the properties?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. Um, Maybe just tell me a little bit about this last year and the impact. I mean, you're coming out of 2019, was a good year for the industry in general. And then, of
Mhm.
course, COVID hits in
Right.
early March and, things starting locking down. So maybe just kind of that experience. I don't know how it affected the property or your staffing, guests, so forth.
Right. So we initially had to modify our operations to deal with all of the restrictions and constraints that had been placed upon us by the county. Fortunately, in lodging, we do have restaurant, but that's a subcontractor situation at the Whale Cove. But Channel House, both Channel House and Whale Cove are a bed and breakfast. So we had to suspend our breakfast service because the idea of a expanded buffet just wasn't going to work. And so far in the last year and a half or so, that continues. We no longer are offering the breakfast until we can modify how we do it and hire and train the staff to make that happen. But overall, so initially there was a outright closure, and about a year ago now, we were able to reopen again under restrictions. So my comment about the lodging industry, fortunately, we clean the rooms, we sterilize things, that everything gets turned around in a manner that's appropriate. So we didn't have to modify those operations much. We use excellent products. And our staff, we have well-trained people that have been with us a long time. We do have an element that comes and goes, and that's seasonal. But as far as the operations, we didn't have to do much to change what we do. We do offer a touch-free check-in process now, and some things that we do when guests arrive. We're not escorting them to their rooms as we used to do. And we've got a little more literature in their unit that describes features and benefits, so they don't have to ask as many questions. And then we provide ancillary information about things to do in the area. We've done that in the past, but a little more comprehensive now, saying these are the restaurants that are operating. Here's what you might want to do, just to allow guests, to relieve the stress and allow them to come out here and relax and not be concerned with all the details.
Yeah.
So overall, so the impact on business has been tremendous. We've had, as of late summer, around October, November last year, we would normally taper off some, but we're not against a gigantic property, so we don't see a tremendous change, but it's normal for it to get a little quiet midweek. But November came and that never occurred. So there must have been a lot of people in the region who felt that they wanted to get away, and they had a little money maybe saved up, and they just wanted a day or two just to get away from it all. And surveys done by TripAdvisor and other travel groups, they determined that one of the most desirable destinations is the ocean. And that makes a lot of sense, because as I look out here past my laptop, there's nothing. I mean, for thousands of miles. So psychologically, I think that helps people relax a little bit too. They feel like, hey, I'm on the edge of the earth here, so I only have to worry about what's behind me.
Nice.
Yeah. So we've been very busy, very fortunate in that way. In fact, right now, my major constraint is I need more headcount. I need more labor to continue this rate of business. And that's tricky right now with the situation with unemployment, hiring, and all of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe switching, no, and that mirrors what I hear from a lot of other customers too, that, labor is tight and in particular in certain parts, and, some hotels have been closed and now they got to reopen or really
Right.
kind of gear back up.
Right. And we're all doing it at the same time. Yeah, forgive me, I mean to speak over you, but we're all doing it at the same time. And so it's really stressing the labor pool. There's not much selection. And maybe some people are hesitant too to get back to work or to get back to interacting with others. So there's some issues we have to overcome. Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. Tell me maybe a little bit about, just in general, how are things going with rezStream? What are, Channel House, welcome in. I mean, we've serviced rezStream for a long time, many years, but what were some of the from your vantage point, what some of the breakthroughs or key benefits with, working with us?
So well, first of all, the customer service, the people that you have there, Liz and others, have been communicative. I've been able to reach them whenever I need to. If we've had some kind of a software issue, which really only has been a handful of times, some kind of a glitch maybe, or something that doesn't go through all the way through the financial steps, but we've been able to reach out and the problem is corrected quickly. And so with the marketing side people, they on the regular basis are sending me communication about ideas and the blogs that we post. So it's been a great experience for me because it's less for me to worry about. I know that I can say, you know what, I trust these people to take care of these aspects of our business, the digital footprint. And maybe a lot of smaller operators out there may not feel as comfortable with the IT aspect of marketing and such. It really helps us. It helps us behave like a bigger company in the ways that help us with our exposure, yet we're still small. So when we interact with guests, it's personal. And so that's been a real benefit. And then with just the operational part, the reservations and managing people's invoices and bookings and sending out confirmations and such, all of that can be set up and is easy to understand. My front desk crew have no problems with the software, and we're able to run the business the way I want to. And a lot of it goes back to my original experience when we did everything by hand. So the first day I sat down at a computer, day one, pick up the phone. Thank you for calling Channel House. You start off, have you stayed with us before? Yes, no, enter their name, pick the date. It's really logical the way it works through. Take the deposit and then send their confirmation. It's great software, and I think it'd be beneficial for a lot of people. Absolutely. And that's not just a sales pitch. That just comes from my own experience. And I mean that wholeheartedly.
Thank you, Cam. That's,
Yeah.
We're a small business and you're in the hospitality industry. We service the hospitality industry. So we try to take great pride in providing personalized service and quality service for sure.
Yes.
So.
And it's easy enough with what way I like to run things. I like to document and confirm things. It's important to communicate, to set guest expectations. And so I've found that software is really useful in that way. I've been able to create a number of templates that we use to communicate with guests. Everything from, can I check in early, to what's to do in the area? What about your cancellation policies? So oftentimes it's much easier to send a quick reply via email and get that information out. Other times, pick up the phone and talk with the guest, but many cases where we can move things along and continue to keep the guest satisfied with our communication, and the software goes a long way to help us do that.
Yeah, no, exactly. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So if somebody were either new to the industry or thinking about, making a change, how would you describe rezStream to them? I mean, what advice would you give them to, what questions should they ask us to consider us as a vendor?
That's a good question. See, I'm so satisfied. I haven't thought about those things. But it's, nothing is perfect, but with the right tools and the right perspective and knowledge, one can do a lot with what they're given. And the software has never presented any kind of constraint on what we do. It's always been something we can use to enhance what we do. And especially when people are concerned with money and expenditures, it's absolutely vital that everything is perfect as far as when you're communicating pricing, deposits, refunds, and all of that. You just want it to be perfect. I don't want to be one of the companies that will lose trust with the customer because we're not professional. And so the software helps us do that. I think my comments earlier might be the best to say that rezStream will help any organization operate and appear like an established, larger organization, one that you can trust. And it also helps from internally. You have the outward perspective to the guest that makes you look good. And then on the inside, you're more efficient with your operations because you can keep track and run reports and understand what's happening with your cash flows and your occupancy and projecting, housekeeping requirements, all of that. It took me months and months when I was younger to kind of get those skills into me, because back then it was the family thing. It was almost a craft that was passed down, right? But now, so I have that knowledge. So I come back now kind of the know-it-all, but the software makes me look good because it it's got the same ideas that I've got in my head. It's just right there. And now I've got 2 locations and a crew, and we all work with it together. So it's an investment, but it pays off. Absolutely.
Nice. Beautiful. Oh, that's great. So if you were to take kind of your, your user rezStream, whether it's the marketing service or the website or the reservation software or the booking engine, any aspect of that, and you were to try to just describe it, like what are maybe 3 words that would, stand out in terms of describing rezStream? Or
Comprehensive, comprehensive and easy, I would say. I mean, I found it easy to understand and get to know. There's also a lot of training available through the site. And thank you for breaking it down into its different aspects, because I don't think of it this way much, and I wasn't supposed to prepare, as you remember. But all of those, everything that you've mentioned, the booking engine, the marketing, all the different components that bring that suite together are all of quality. They're flexible depending on the size of your property. You can manage and control your availability with units, your pricing, your packages, everything. And it's not overly complicated. So it's comprehensive. It helps. And it may even introduce someone who may be new to the industry to an aspect of their business they never thought about. Oh, I never thought about a boutique selling items that have logos and such. And you can build those POS items into your system, and you can sell them right there over the counter. So there may be areas of operations and aspects of adding value to your business that rezStream might open some doors that you never thought were there before. And it will help you manage it so that it doesn't fail. The effort doesn't come apart.
Nice. Yeah, that's interesting. So I'm curious if this relates to you, or if this sounds, so the way we're trying to think about it is a independent lodging property needs to think of kind of the entire guest journey from the moment somebody goes online to look. And so you want to be visible, and then get them to the branded website. So, we provide that and provide a good experience there. Hopefully translate them over to the booking engine where they feel comfortable and it's easy and secure to make a reservation. And then before the guest arrives, be able to communicate with that guest via the reservation software, automated emails, and so forth. Obviously managing the guest on the property with charges and checking in, checking out, all those things, manage the staff. But then also post stays. So now you have a guest that has stayed with you, and you want to continue to be able to communicate with them, ideally get them to engage with you on social media. You want to be able to send them specials. You would like to bring them back. You would like them to be an advocate of your property and be a good referral source. So we're kind of thinking the entire guest journey, and we try with our services to hit all of those points from the beginning with online marketing and visibility, through the website, through the booking engine, through the reservation software, and then through call it the CRM or the customer relationship management contact list, and communicating with guests post stay. So, does that resonate at all with you? I'm just curious.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I appreciate your being able to articulate that better than I can, because that's what I'm getting at with my previous experience and what I see now. Every step in that journey is covered. Every step is covered. So yes, you have the initial marketing out there on the internet with a quality site that's navigable and also usable on mobile devices and such. So that's easy. Guests can see via the calendar what's available. And then they can reach out and start the booking process, and everything's easy to understand. We've had tremendous success getting ourselves away from the OTAs. So when I first came on board, I still feel this way though. They're a necessary evil in a way, because if you can obtain a new customer, you can capture a new customer. That's great. Okay, you're going to pay that cost that one time, but then once you have them stay with you, you need to maintain that relationship directly and try to position, move that OTA out to the side, right? Get them away, and then continue that relationship over time. You can bring new people in and add and grow your base. So we've been very successful in stepping away from the two large players right now. With that Channel House, we're not live on Booking at all or Expedia. And we still continue to have strong bookings. Future reservations are being made, multiple every day. But we're very fortunate. We are special, we're small. But when people get out there and they Google, there it is, they click on the website, it's professional looking, it's easy to navigate, and that process begins. So yeah, so once they've been with us, we can manage their stay with correspondence, billing, invoicing, purchases. They've brought a gift certificate. None of these things are a problem. So as far as the cash and the things that happen while the guest is with us, that's smooth. And then again, after they've left, we could follow up. I haven't been doing as much email campaigns as I'd like to. I always want to keep those of quality so that when guests receive something, they know it's a valuable email they should take a look at. But absolutely, that continuing, that CRM aspect after the guest has left, it is important, because you want them to come back to you and again, not go back through a website where they may feel that they could get a better price or something. So we're all fighting to maintain that guest and keep that customer close. But every step in that process, all the way around, is covered.
Beautiful. What's looking forward, you've been fortunate, and I think we see that across our properties too, where, the smaller ones, the more leisure-oriented ones have fared reasonably well.
Mm-hmm.
There has been certain pockets of in the country, if you were in the city, even though you were small and leisure, you really hurt.
Right.
But as you're looking into next year, what are some of the challenges or the obstacles that you're thinking of for your property?
Right now, I don't have any short-term concerns. We're really spoiled. We're very fortunate with the performance and the numbers that we're seeing. My concern would be that there would be another shift or another return to something really restrictive. That would be my concern. That threat that we just have to adapt to. So that would be my concern. As far as our relationship with rezStream, I know that the software continues to be improved. We see updates regularly. There's little features that get more enhanced, which takes a little bit of a learning curve, but we understand what the changes are about. So let's see, let me answer that question a little better. What would be the big challenge? Just for us to maintain what we're doing right now, stay busy, keep the bookings going, and be prepared for something that could just hit us out of left field and cause another chaotic event like we had last year. But as long as we can maintain the quality and provide the guest experience, and I mean the entire guest experience, that is including software and our business as a physical asset, if we can continue to provide quality and meet and exceed guest expectations, then we'll continue to do fine. But it takes a good partner like rezStream to allow me to not worry about that. I can focus on whatever may be coming, and I'm not entirely caught up in the nuts and bolts of daily operations because I have that partner in rezStream that helps me get that done with my crew.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So there's not a specific, tactic or capability or something that you would like us to bring to the party or bring to the table that you're missing? Is there?
There's nothing that jumps out at me. And I wish I had some silver bullet, but no, because, like I said, nothing is perfect, but every step of the process, every part of the rezStream software works well enough and better. In fact, there's features and benefits we don't even use that could even help us more. But I don't see any problems or any constraints there. It's more about us. We need to provide what we promise. And that includes what we do here, as well as our professional and then our digital footprint and our communications and all those things. So we just need to keep doing what we're doing with our properties because we are special and differentiated. There's nothing like these two places out on the Oregon coast. So we just, the only thing we could do is mess it up. And I don't know. I don't think we're going to do that. As long as we keep things the way they are, we're going to be doing just fine. And no business will remain the same for the long term. But for us, again, There's the channel opening here, which is just over my shoulder. There's nothing like it, to the smallest harbor in the world. We're right here on the rocks. We've got hot tubs outside, no kids, no pets, no smoking. It's just a couples retreat. So we're very fortunate. And both places, the Toyota store, as I call it, and over at the Whale Cove is the Lexus store. That's the fancy place. But the basic formula is the same. It's just a couples retreat. So we want to come off as a professional property, and I think rezStream absolutely helps us accomplish that.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I want to honor your time, and I really appreciate it. Any, and this doesn't have to be part of, anything, but any questions for me? Anything you wonder about as it relates to rezStream or the industry or anything that?
No, the only thing that ever comes up sometimes is I need to get out there and maybe get some training done, perhaps. Go to Colorado. I'm not sure. It's been a while since we've had somebody come out here and actually train. Liz was here maybe a year and a half ago, more on a visit just to see how things were going. But I was never around when when rezStream was onboarded. I didn't go through that initial training. And frankly, I'm a little bit of a short-term memory kind of guy. I'd rather kind of sit and do things and then I'll get it. If someone says, here, read this, ooh, that's going to be a struggle. I'd really have to find the time for that. But that would be the only thing that I'd ever want. Just so that I know that we're taking advantage of all the benefits the software provides, because I know we're scratching the surface. Because a lot of the financial things, we have a lady that does our AP and AR for us. But I know that a lot of what she does, that she recreates, is already there. And so I run a lot of reports on my own to, of course, keep track of KPIs and such. But I'm certain there's more the software could do for us, and I'd like to learn more at some point. But we're doing okay for now. And so right now, my concerns are, keeping us afloat. Right now, the immediate thing in Oregon is the closure and reopening of counties. So last night at 5:30 our time, the governor reopened 13 counties in Oregon that had been basically shut down for a week. So that just occurred. And we're getting a lot of questions from travelers from outside the area, but that's about 10% of our customer base. Most of the people that stay with us are regional. And so they understand what's going on, and then they react accordingly. It's really interesting to watch what happens with traffic and activity out in the community when other areas are shut down. We see a lot more day traffic and that kind of thing, because people are just like, we can't go to the restaurant, we can't go anywhere. Let's go to the coast. Plus, it's beautiful out here. So, but no, we're really lucky. Carl, our owner, when he bought this place out, it had a special location, and it's weathered a lot of different, economic up and down. And the Whale Cove is doing fairly well, but it's really expensive there, and it's very specific about its differentiation. And so the channel house is more affordable. So I think greater opportunity here. Whale Cove is just fine. 8 suites. It doesn't take much to fill it up, and they're expensive. So, but I think the channel house is the one that, for me personally, with my time and my interest, this is the lady I need to keep an eye on. She's a good old girl.
Nice.
But hey, you should come out sometime and come out to the coast. She said you never get out this far sometimes. Come see us,
Yes. No, I would love to. So I did live 4 years in the Bay Area. So my wife is from the Bay Area. My sister-in-law had a very high-end bed and breakfast in Half Moon Bay, just south of San Francisco.
Sure.
And it's still there. She built it and ran it for 15 years. Before that, she wrote travel guides for all over the world. They're called Karen Brown's Guides.
Wow.
Did you ever come across those? And my wife's mother ran a travel agency, and then the family had a 50-room property in Mexico that we were involved in. And so, it's been, I've been involved in the lodging industry for a long time. So it's fun, and it's fun to see. And I'm so glad that the small, unique, high customer service, properties are doing well. And that's what this country's built on, is all the small businesses.
No, it's true. And the medium-sized properties that had nothing special to offer, if it's just another business hotel that's alongside of a highway, I'm sorry, there was too much travel need. It was just robust. Anything you open up and put a door on it, people are like, I'll come and stay. And what the COVID thing really has done is it's shaken everything down now. And if you're not differentiated, if you're really not offering a strong value proposition, it's going to be rough. Otherwise, you're going to have to compete on price, and that's no fun. And
Exactly.
so, fortunately for us, we don't have to do that. We compete more on our being unique and how do we compare to other properties. And so, if you want to come out and sit up overlooking the ocean directly in a hot tub and not have any kids running around, this is the place to come.
All right. I will take you up on that one day, I promise.
Yeah. So so with your family background, what was your educational background?
So I grew up in Norway, of all things,
Okay.
and came to Colorado to go to college. I studied finance, and so I was a numbers guy. I was in investment banking for about 5 years, and but really had this entrepreneurial sort of streak in me. So
Mm-hmm.
I left that space and basically got to be a CFO and then a business manager for a number of different businesses and owner in a couple of them. And then about 9 years ago, I joined rezStream and basically took over rezStream.
Okay.
I found rezStream because my wife was using rezStream's products and services for their property in Mexico.
Okay.
So that was a 50-room boutique property in Manzanillo, Mexico, which is on the West Coast, just about a 4-hour drive south of Puerto Vallarta.
Okay.
And so she had found rezStream for the reservation software and used them for their website building and their marketing services. So I got to know the owners, and they've been at it for about 10, 15 years, maybe or so at that time, maybe 10 years. And I think they were looking for a change. And, I love the travel industry, and I thought I had something to bring to the party. So that's been a really fun, almost a decade now for me here at rezStream. So
That's
it's
great.
been really fun.
You've done fantastic work. I mean, the product is excellent. I don't have any problems with it. And it's so important with operations. I couldn't imagine doing it the way we used to. And just the other night, I was down at a property. We had a unit that had a problem. So I went to another property to book a room for a guest because we were going to have to send them there. So I just wanted to pave the way. I went down the other property here. I'm paying for their room night, and to watch the young lady just handle that booking as she was copying and pasting things into documents and such. You can pull that off, yes, but wow. And it does come to mind. I'm certain you folks have reached out to Select Registry, that group. Are you? Okay, because we are members there too. That may be another avenue, perhaps, because that's all they are, right? It's just medium-sized, small, boutique, differentiated properties and that would be, I would think, would be where you would find folks that are struggling with some of the details, some of the benefits that rezStream would bring them.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And yes, we have several clients that are Select Registry, affiliated properties. So, and they do a nice job. So, I think they provide some what they call affiliated marketing services, and call it that the stamp of quality, stamp of approval.
Right. Sure.
So, very nice.
And they've gone through leadership change recently at Select
Right.
Registry. So it'll be good to see what changes, what new energy comes around with the new CEO. I think he's titled.
Absolutely.
But yeah. So with marketing, and I won't keep you much longer, but with your marketing efforts, conventions, shows, that kind of a thing, you go to organizational meetings, set up a small booth and talk about this products and services and that kind of thing. But that has been obviously affected the last year, probably with the whole COVID thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. We used to go to a fair amount of conferences and trade shows. We are actively involved with a lot of different organizations, from California Lodging and Hotel Association to CABI to what used to be PI, which is now PAL, or something like that. And there are a lot of those, and so we've communicated a lot via those. Obviously, everybody are online these days, so a
Right.
lot of our sales efforts, if you will, or reaching out is not so much about selling, but it's really more about helping. So we try to get out there and educate, and demonstrates the knowledge that we have of the industry, what we've learned over 2 decades, what we've seen across, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of properties that we work with, and bring that back to, not just us, but the industry at large. So
That's terrific. Yeah.
that's that. And then, people don't change their reservation software every day, but there are all kinds of it. And to your point, we also try not to, sell on price, because like you said, that's not very fun. Instead, we try to focus on the value proposition. So,
Yes. Right.
And the personalized service and the high customer service and the ease of use of the product and what it can do for you. You mentioned staff. It can be hard to find staff. Well, if you have a system that automates a lot of these tasks, and they're done right because you set them up right, and they work 24/7. They don't take a sick day.
Right.
It just works. So that's what we're trying, and that goes kind of to our tagline, if you will. Better lodging simplified, and growing revenue and simplifying the operations. That's kind of what we're all about. So
no, and I think you're achieving that goal. Absolutely. When I love it. And every morning when I get up and look at my dashboard, I love to look to the right and see all those bookings that are just sitting there waiting. And, back in the day, you'd have to wait, get in the morning and hit the phone or whatever it was. You have all the voicemails waiting for you and all of that and all the processing, but it's so easy now by comparison. It's almost fun. I have to say, it's almost fun. It's you're just making money. So that's gotta be fun.
yeah, no, exactly. Okay. Well, so last one, just on a personal note then. So when you're not working, what do you do for fun?
I've for the last 2.5 years done nothing but work. Yeah, I'm a little burned out. Stop recording. No, but I'm a little burned out right now. I'd like to get back to mountain biking and a little bit of road cycling. The Oregon coast only has one highway, and it's kind of like a shooting gallery. But if I lived in some place like Colorado, I'd be mountain biking, do some trail riding, and then maybe some snow sports in the wintertime. You guys are so blessed out there. I mean, oh man.
Yeah, no, and I get to do that. I love the outside. So and I'm a biker too. So I bike, road bike and mountain bike. I do ski in the winter. Growing up in Norway, of course, you got to ski.
Yeah.
I like to just be out in the yard and putz around, mow the lawn, and take care of things, and and get some fresh air. So,
no, very good. And I'm very fortunate. I live right here on the rocks. I don't have much of a yard, so kind of miss that. But no, we'll see what I can do about carving out some existence for myself, because I need to maintain. Yeah, I need to maintain balance for my people too. I need to be available to them emotionally and intellectually, and not be kind of tired and concerned all the time. And that's difficult. I'm not sure what aspect of rezStream will help you there, but maybe we'll figure something out. But overall, no, I really appreciate your time. And so I guess in the end, is it just word of mouth really that is one of the most powerful tools for you guys in terms of spreading your product and selling it?
Yeah, so we think of marketing in a few different layers. So one is the channels, or where do you get your message out through?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously out through email, out through associations, out through conferences when they come back in line.
Mm-hmm.
Our website, being visible out there.
Right.
And certainly, so those are kind of the channels, and then the messages, or what strengthened the message is starting with the education, starting with the knowledge and experience and history that we have, but obviously backing it up with experiences that other properties have had with us, such as yourself. So whether that's the case studies or the data that we can provide and really demonstrate, okay, over time with rezStream, you can enhance these things. So that's kind of that's where the value proposition comes in. So yeah, marketing is always interesting, and it always changes. The social media platforms have changed a little bit in the last 5+ years, I would say. It used to be more Facebook, and now it's gone more to maybe the Instagram or the kind of the short snippets.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We haven't done a whole lot there yet, but I think we probably could. And the way we look at the social platforms, at least for properties too, it's more about brand awareness, brand building, than it is about creating, one-to-one direct bookings. but sort of like review sites are. It's about brand awareness. It's about confidence in what the property has to offer. So,
And if we weren't, and if the property wasn't visible in those areas, that would come off wrong, perhaps. And I mean,
yeah,
to not be visible in those places where everybody is these days, at least to be part of that, yeah, strengthens the brand.
right. So, if you're in the retail business, you want to be on Yelp, or you want to be on some of these review sites, right? And you want to be the same probably for lodging, for those that are relevant to you. For us in our industry, just selling software, there are software review sites like Capterra or G2 Crowd or other places where consumers or businesses come in to look for the type of operational software, for example, that they need. And so we want to be in those places and get reviews there as well. So it's a lot of different things.
Yeah, complicated, sure.
Yeah.
Exciting. Well,
Yeah.
I'm available for, anything I could do to assist you guys. I do appreciate your product and services, and I do mean everything I say when I don't have any problems with it. I could wholeheartedly recommend it to anybody if it fits their needs, if it's something that would work for them and enhance their capabilities. But no, bravo, great product. We love it. We're going to keep using it, and hopefully someday I'll get out to Colorado and see you guys.
Absolutely. And when you do, yes, please, we'll show you around. So thank you so much, Cam. It's been
Okay.
a delight, and I look forward to connecting with you again sometime down the road.
Okay, Christian, conclude the call. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Have
Cheers.
a great day.
Bye-bye.